Hello and welcome. Come on in. Click on in, as they say. Good to see some familiar faces. Hello, Jason. Thanks for stopping by once again. Much appreciated. Mary and Carrie. You clicked in at the same time just so I could say your rhyming names. Appreciate that. Linda and hey, Jacob. Always good to see you. My former saxophone student from when we were both children. Hey, Bobby. Bobby Roebuck, the photographer for the Live from the Zen Den shot. And oh my goodness, here comes everybody. Hey, Patrick, wonderful saxophone player from the Portland area. Been on the road with Gino and to name just a few people. You'll see now, Gino. He's got his own band that I was blown away with. I did a festival with Patrick's pop band, and he was out there singing and dancing and tearing it up. So it's good to see you, Patrick. And doesn't it feel weird we're just playing in our bedrooms like we did when we were kids? It's come full circle. I'm touring my basement this evening. Yeah. Well, I did my best to take a couple of notes as from previous episodes of stuff that I didn't get to, like perhaps didn't have enough time or I didn't have the tracks at hand. So I've been doing a little bit of homework, and you might have seen on Facebook I went to my storage unit and dug up these old ADAT tapes, which are essentially, and unfortunately, just VCR tapes. That's what they are. They're VCR tapes, except they hold digital information. And it was made by a company called Alesis, and it really revolutionized the home studio business. So every musician had at least one ADAT, and if you weren't working on an album, you would loan your one ADAT machine, which looks like a VCR, to your friend who was then working on his album, and then you'd kind of all share multiple ADATs. Anyway, so that's how albums existed, and I had to go through that box and transfer some stuff, and I think I successfully did one of the songs that was requested called Slide, and I'm going to give that a whirl a little bit later, and we'll see how it goes. So I'm supposed to be clicking on these names, and I was saying hello to people without. Here we go. Michael Kim. Hello, sir. How's your golf game? I'm sure you're allowed to golf during COVID. They don't stop you from doing that. And Vincent, hello from North Carolina. Good to see you. Hey, Gary. Welcome. And Patrick, Linda Marie loves you, as do we all. So you can feel the love in the room. Well, I appreciate you spending this Wednesday evening with me. It's such a strange evening of the week, halfway through the weekend or halfway from the weekend, however you look at it. But I enjoy hanging out with you guys and just sort of, if I may be honest, practicing. If it weren't for you showing up, I wouldn't have the sense of commitment that I should really get on my horn. I should really find a good read. I should really do these things to sound halfway decent. So I'll do my best. And perfection is the ultimate goal, but never get there. So just do your best. So one of the things that a request from previous weeks was that I was someone asked me to play the iwi, the electric wind instrument. So I have it right here. And before I play it, I'm going to go ahead and turn it on. If you've ever come to see us live, you've probably heard about the iwi. iwi it's an acronym, stands for electric wind instrument. And the saxophone has about 3 octaves, and this instrument has almost 8 octaves, so I'll play a little bit of it for you. And if you can see it, I don't think my autofocus is working. The keys don't actually move like they do on saxophone. There are no moving parts, so to speak, and there's no pads or anything like that. It's all touch-sensitive metal on the outside of the instrument that your skin makes contact with. And as a matter of fact, this is my recommended brand. I keep this in my case because, especially now, I've got a dry, cracked thumb. So I have to get my hands ready to play iwi because otherwise they won't trigger the notes right. It's crazy, isn't it? And sometimes I use a nail file to file off the calluses. But anyway, if things are working properly and the batteries are on fire, and working and charged. I mean, I'll play a little bit of it for you. And I did explain it before, but I'll explain it for those of you who might not have been to a previous explanation of this. The bending, like on saxophone, you bend with your mouth, you squeeze the reed, and on this thing, you actually use your thumb to bend the note down or up. So I don't know if I can even get a shot of this. So basically, I'm taking my thumb and rolling it off a plate of metal. And so the more skin that's on that plate of metal down here, the more it pulls the note down to the degree I tell it to, set in the settings. And then vice versa, the more skin that's on the upper plate, the more it pulls the note up. So you can do this. So kind of get this emotional like this. And then the vibrato is similar to the saxophone in that you just bite on this lip sensor. And what's inside there are two pieces of metal that do this, and they modulate the sound. So I know you didn't come here for a lecture on the iwi. So I'm going to play a song that is not on any CD. That was an idea we were tossing around. This is like, I've lost track of time. So many years ago. It was on one of the ADAT tapes that I dug out. I thought, oh, I forgot about the song. It's an arrangement that Dave Kohansky did of an Edie Brickell tune called What I Am. It's one of my favorite tunes that she's ever done. Edie Brickell and the New Bohemians was the name of the group. And I thought it's just a fun little groove tune. I thought it would get warmed up tonight with this. So here we go. Here is What I Am. All right. That's a fun groove. It's so relentless. What I Am, a cover of What I Am by the great Edie Brickell. All right, all right. Thank you so much. Woo! I'll say it for you. Woo! Thank you. I appreciate that. I did play, not, thank you, Youth and Vanity. Did you play that on Sahara? I did. I've played the iwi for years on many different recordings. A lot of times you don't even know it's there because we kind of sneak it in as a sort of a background supplemental instrument. And we did that same sound, a different sound, but the same instrument on the Sahara album. It doubles nicely. Like it pairs nicely with the guitar, as if you're talking about a wine. It seems to pair nicely with the guitar. And I use it to shadow all my saxophones a lot of times. I mean, I use it quite a bit. So, yeah, I'm glad you like that. Trying to power down my instrument here so I can save my batteries. Yeah. Oh, like speaking of power, I'm sorry, Betty. Howard, are you on your phone or something like that? Are you pedaling a generating bicycle so you can stay afloat? The power edge. Yeah, our power went out a few times last night too, so I wasn't sure if tonight was going to happen, but I'm so glad it did. Keith Newton, sax man, Keith Newton. Hey man, I saw Keith on television on a show called I Can See Your Voice. Keith, that's correct, right? That was you dancing up a storm, and you looked great. It was great. It was a lot of fun, that show. I came across it on Facebook. Thought, wow, I know that guy. But thank you so much. And let's see here. Thank you, Eric. I appreciate that. And another Eric. Love that iwi. Cool. You know, it's funny. I'll tell you a little story about the iwi. I like most saxophonists, became completely enamored with the iwi when we saw Michael Brecker playing it. He was the first guy to really master it. I mean, he's amazing. You check him out on YouTube. And the thing, though, that really impressed me about the iwi when I saw him play it at the Palace Theater in Los Angeles in the, early 90s maybe, with Steps Ahead, is the musicality of the instrument. It wasn't the fact that it could go high and low, which it can do, and it can play as fast as your fingers can go. It can do that. But what most impressed me was the musicality, the fact that he could bring so much expression to it. And my jaw was just dropped watching him play this thing. He played actually a ballad in a sentimental mood, which is an old jazz standard. And he played it on the iwi, and it was absolutely gorgeous and, you know, a very emotional piece. And the fact that he did it all with electronics was really what sold me. So like most, excuse me, like most saxophone players, as soon as the thing became commercially available, we slapped down our Visas and MasterCards and went out and got one. So anyway, and you know, I enjoy playing it on the show because it's nice to have a change of sonic palette throughout a show, something a little different. And also it gives my chops a rest because it's a lot less physically demanding than the saxophone. I was in Spain a couple years ago when we all used to tour. Remember that? And let's see, where was I? Mallorca. Spain, and it was a nice festival. And afterwards, they had these are always fun. We play, all the artists play, and then afterwards, we go downstairs into the hotel and just have some drinks and talk with people and get to meet people, just like we're doing here. Um, so this man from Germany came up, and he's an older gentleman, probably in his 70s, but he was loving the jazz, and he was very. I was smiling, and he came up to me smiling, and he says, "The iwi." And I said, "Yes." And I usually get something like, "That's such an interesting instrument," or "Where did you get it?" Or, that type of thing that starts it's a conversation starter for sure. How do you finger it? Is it fingered like saxophone? Those are the kind of questions I usually get. He said, it wasn't a question, it was a statement. He said, "Young man, the iwi, you must never play that again." I thought he was kidding. He was dead serious. Like, "You must never play that again." I said, "Why not? I like it. It's fun for me." He goes, "It is not the saxophone. Don't play that." So, which is funny because there are two schools of thought, and hey, no judgment here. To each his own. People, when they see you playing the saxophone and then play something else, I guess somewhat similar to a clarinet or a soprano, they're expecting a certain thing, and when they don't get that certain thing, they are. I think they find it uncomfortable. Maybe it could be. I'm just junior psychologist here. So anyway, that was a very, very funny anecdote. It's like, "Iwi, you must never play it again." And I didn't promise him I would do that, so I've been playing it ever since. I think I turned it up just because of him. Oh yes, I did know that Edie Brickell is married to Paul Simon. I did know that. Yep, absolutely. And Keith has confirmed. Yes, that was him. He says, "I'm a ham." That you were. He was singing and dancing. I love that show. It's a very interesting show. So look for that on YouTube. You'll find Keith Newton on television. Hello, Dee. Hey, what's going on with you? I've been sitting on this stool all day. I teach at a college, so I'm on Zoom. Like most teachers out there, give me a shout out if you're also a teacher. We're doing Zoom, and I had a couple student conferences where they talked to me about their degrees, and then department meetings, and then of course the actual class lectures where I meet with class. And one of the courses I'm teaching this quarter is music appreciation. And it's not really a music course, and it's not for musicians. It's a humanities course, and there's a lot of writing, and so it's kind of fun. I've really, over the last couple of quarters, I inherited the course from someone else, and so I've been over the last couple of quarters trying to make it more my own. And while we're working out of a textbook, an ebook that has the classic period, the romantic period, the Baroque. There's also folk music, world music, jazz, all sorts of things. And I always tell my students, you don't have to, and I would tell the same gentleman from Germany, you don't have to love it. You don't have to love everything. But, at least if you were taking my course, you need to explain to me, with musical terminology, what it is that you don't like or do like, right? With specificity, right? And I can assume we all can grow from that kind of thing. So anyway, it's a lot of fun. I'm having a good time. Mike Perkins. Oh my goodness. Mike, I know Mike was, I don't know, do you still play? I was going to say was a great trombone player. He is a great trombone player. He is a retired principal of a high school in Alaska, and we played in band together. So as you can see, if you've ever seen any kind of band, either concert band, but especially big band, you got the row of saxophones in front, and who's behind them but the smart aleck trombonist making fun of us all the time and having... Oh, he says he still does play. Thank you, Mike. So he is a great trombonist, and he's... I'm glad you're still playing. And I always wish I played the trombone. Trombone is my number one favorite instrument to write for, and when I play the iwi like this... I'm thinking trombone. I'm thinking brass textures when I play this thing. So yes, I do wish I played the trombone. And Hector, thank you for that request. I did play Around the World a few, I think it might have been on the first episode. If you go to episode 1, you will find it, Around the World. I'm playing that on iwi, so please, it's on YouTube. Hey, Jeffrey. A little late to the party. Excited to hear what you got going on. Well, thank you. We're just catching up here with some friends and just hanging out, basically. I had another request. It's good to hear from you. Oh, one more. D. Warner says, I'm learning how to play acoustic guitar. And then sax is next. Well, there's a man with a mission. You couldn't pick two more different instruments, but they're both beautiful. So enjoy them both. I had a request for an older song called Free Flyer. So, you know what, I just realized the man behind the curtain, Daniel, I was supposed to give him my set list, and I never did. So, Daniel, I'm going to play Free Flyer, 2 different words, Free Flyer, and that's going to segue into The Power of Midnight. And they're both soprano tunes. I was kind of in a soprano mood. So I'll start that up in 2 seconds here. And Free Flyer, a little bit about Free Flyer. That is a song that was predominantly written and produced, and all produced, but predominantly written by a great musician. I hesitate to call him any one instrument as his calling because he plays them all so well, equally well, as far as I could hear. And that's Chris Parks. Chris with a CH, Chris Parks. And he's from New York. And here's the funny thing, as you probably have already figured out when I perform with people and such, you know, we're all friends, we hang out together, we eat together, we travel together. That's part of the whole chemistry of music making. Well, this gentleman I have never met, and I've never even seen him. Isn't that crazy? I was listening to my friend's album. Let's see here. Connie Cole from the Phoenix, Arizona area. You might know her. Wonderful vocalist. And I was asking who did your album for you because it sounds great. I love the production and everything. She said, Chris Parks. So can I have his email? So I emailed him and we hooked up and he said, I've got some stuff you might be interested in. And this is one of those tracks. I went through 30 of his tunes and thought, okay, it's like you're trying on clothes. Like this one, that feels pretty good. I think I like this one, tune after tune after tune. And I said, I love these, 8 or so tunes. And the collection became the CD called Back in the Day on Shanachie Records. So I'd like to play Free Flyer for you. And then, like I said, that's going to segue into The Power of Midnight. Okay. I always have to do some settings adjustments. Here we go. Free Flyer, then The Power of Midnight. All right. Ah, Danny says, you speak the truth when you saw Connie is an awesome vocalist. Yes. Love her tone. I think I where our CDs. Yes, she's great. We're talking about Connie Cole, wonderful vocalist from Phoenix, who I mentioned earlier. All right. That was the power of midnight. On let me tell you about the band on these. Now, on the Free Flyer tune, that was all Chris Parks, with the exception of the soprano parts. He was doing everything, bass. He programmed all the beautiful stuff. Oops, I always forget to turn off my transport. He programmed all the beautiful production and the percussion and keys and strings. And what else did he do? Guitar and bass. And the bass is what sold me. It's like, man, he can groove. So wonderful musician, Chris Parks. Yeah. And then, let's see here. Dan Perez, that is a cool picture. I wish what I would give for hair like that. The soprano sound is gorgeous. Let's dig into Iwi chat. Uh-huh. And I wondered if you generally just use the native Iwi synth, or do you ever map the Iwi's MIDI outputs to control other synths? Okay, so tech question for all you tech people out there. So the answer is yes, Dan. I predominantly use the internal sounds of the 4000. That's the model I have, the Iwi 4000. Because, a couple of reasons. I just like the way they sound, first of all. I've built my whole career on probably 3 sounds from the library, but I like them a lot, so, I'm good with it. And also, you can hook the Iwi to a computer and edit the parameters. However, with the advancements of OS in Mac technology, I have an old computer that I've kept for 20 years. I have to use that old computer because they stopped supporting the software. So I actually go back in time to, whatever it was, 2000s, my old computer from Antiques Roadshow to program the Iwi. But anyway, yes, I do that. And I have also done MIDI out with it. MIDI means you're controlling another instrument through a digital communication. And as a matter of fact, I've even Velcroed my iPhone running GarageBand with nice samples on it to the side of the Iwi. That's why there's Velcro on the side of the Iwi right here. That's from my used to be where my iPhone would snap onto, and I would play like bass, clarinet, and harmonica and things like that. So I've done all the above, and it's all fun. It's just fun to experiment and try stuff. Yeah, great question though. Thank you for that. Steve Barsati, fellow educator over at Shoreline Community College. Oh, well, a glass of wine. Very good. I'm sorry you had a bad day, my friend. So hopefully things will be better. I appreciate that, though. Appreciate you being here with your glass of wine. Nurse it. Nurse it. Here's to you. Hey, everyone, here's to your bad day. If you had a bad day or bad week or even a bad year, hang in there. Hang in there. It's going to get better. It's like a lot of people have been joking, wash hands, wash hands, wash hands, meaning sort of like the Zen proverb, just chop wood, carry water. And sometimes life is that way, isn't it? I'm not trying to, to lecture you here, but it seems like at times there's so much craziness going on. All you can do is do what you do. Just get to the things that you do. So to find some sort of peace and sense of normalcy in your everyday thing that you do. Cleaning out the cat box has become my Zen garden. Yep. With 2 cats, I'm very busy doing that all day long. That's my Zen thing. Oops. Jeremy R. Hey, Jeff, have you watched the movie Whiplash? Oh, yes, I have. I was wondering if elite musicians like you went through that level of intensity torture to reach the quality you have today. What a great I assume your logo, your picture for your ID is Sunny Side Up, which is great. I love that little hand thing on there. That's wonderful. Jeremy, one of the finest questions I've been asked. So this is worthy of a serious explanation. So to answer your question, yes. I won't mention names. It's not important. But I have had in my college experience someone who was, give him all his credit. He was a brilliant musician. But he chose to express any frustration in a very, very abusive manner. And now I was brought up in a very loving household. And so it's like, it wasn't normal to me, right? And he would berate me in front of the orchestra. And purposely trying to humiliate me. I remember one speech. I'll bring it to you. I'll bring you the actual story. He said he got on my other side of my music stand. He stopped the band and got like 2 feet from me and was literally screaming at me. I see you carrying your case around campus all day. What the hell do you do? Just carry it around, or do you ever practice? I mean, he was like really coming at me, and I was just silent. I said, "Well, I'm sorry. I'll try harder." Right? And after that, I actually marched into his office, and I, not defensively, just to sort of talk to the man, saying, "You know, I pay tuition to come here, and I'm here to learn. In fact, I've got a lot to learn, and I know that. And you're one of the people from whom I'm learning. But I tell you, the way I learn the best is to be spoken to and not yelled at." And it stopped at that point. But I have to think now that I'm more of an adult looking back on that, and now I'm an educator as well, dealing with college students. I can only chalk it up to maybe he was going through a bad time in his life. And the main thing is this: had nothing to do with me. Had nothing to do with me. He was going through something. That's his trip, and I'm sorry for that. But once again, chop wood, carry water. I do what I do. I practice. I try to play as best I can. I'm never perfect, always trying to find the next better way to do something, and just stay on the path, stay on the path. So that's kind of the way, that's my story. But it's a great question. And I will also contend, as an end cap to that story, that being abused, verbally abused or whatever, is never, ever, ever going to improve a person's skill. It won't. Fear is not the motivator. Love is the motivator, for sure. So thank you for that question. That's a great question. Oh, the iPhone, yeah, give it a try. It's pretty cool. You have to buy a little adapter, go to Guitar Center, they got them. They got all kinds of things at Guitar Center. They know me by my first name at the Guitar Center because I was there so much. Right. Lyric from the song of the theme song from Friends. Let's see here. We've got Ryan. My pleasure, Ryan. Rippington CD live at the live in LA, I think you mean, years ago as a teenager. Here's a I don't mean to bust your bubbles. Live in LA was the name of the CD, and actually it was not done in LA. I think I might have told you the story, some people the story. It was actually recorded up in Ventura. We played LA the night before at the Greek Theater, big concert, and then we took the band out and played at Ventura Theater for 2 nights, and that's where that album came from. And it was back in the day when there's this new technology for video called HD, which is high definition. But at the time, it was a big thing. Like, HD, what is that? What does that mean? All I remember is that the lights had to be very bright. Danae Call says, Mr. Law. Mr. Law is, I see a couple of mates of mine logging on. Mr. Law, John Law, still a friend, and I see him on Facebook all the time, was one of those kind of teachers, just the opposite of the whiplash guy. I learned more from this guy than, he was one of the teachers from whom I learned the most. And was never yelling, never like that. As a matter of fact, speaking of Mr. Law, he's the guy who taught us how to solo in jazz. He taught us jazz. And I'm talking, it was in the 8th grade when I first started playing the saxophone. He was the band director at Kellogg Junior High School, which has now been demolished, and it's just an empty field right now. But he would take the time after class to show those interested, and there was a group of us that are interested, and Mike might have been one of them, I think, to learn more about jazz, to learn how to solo. And I remember him like it was yesterday, lecturing us on the blues. You've got the 1 chord, followed by the 4 chord, back to the 1 chord, the rhythm of the blues. And then he had us write down the guide tones. This is teaching. This is really the way you learn how to play and improvise. Guide tones are the thirds for the musicians out there. They're thirds and the sevenths of each chord. They're the things that those are the good pretty notes, put it that way. Anyway, so you're literally mapping out, not writing a solo, but just mapping out a path for you to take. That is soloing 101. And just the last week, I was in the garage looking for something, going through papers, and I came across the actual piece of paper that I wrote when I was in the 8th grade, the very first chart I ever wrote. It has a Roman numeral 1. It has, a C and a B flat written there. It's pretty cool. It's like, wow, that is the beginning of my jazz journey and certainly the beginning of writing anything. So it's kind of fun to have that. My penmanship was so much better back then. I don't know what happened to me. It's disintegrated over the years. But hello from Virginia. Great to see you. I hope to be out to Richmond. They have me booked for March, but, fingers crossed. They've already moved the date twice. But Richmond, Virginia, the Tin Pan. I don't know if you've ever been there, but it's a great club. Dale Ackerman, keyboardist. Connie and I send our love from Aptos. Same living room. You did that record. Oh, man. Thanks, Dale. Yeah, Dale, when I lived in Northern California, Dale was nice enough to call me for a couple of sessions. We did quite a few sessions. So I'd drive down to his home and record all day. It was just a really memorable and fun experience. So it's great to hear from you, Dale. Thanks for clicking in. Weekend in Monaco, live at LA. Best sax solo. Thank you so much. That's very kind of you. That's a tricky tune. I remember practicing that tune. It's had a lot of movement at the bridge. I remember going back to the whole John Law thing. You have to be sort of systematic when you're learning some new changes, and the procedure has not changed since the 8th grade. It's like, what are the roots? What are the important chord tones? Rehearse them, go up, go down, go up, go down, reverse your direction, that type of thing. So you kind of get your dance steps down till you can play fluidly over changes. And that's really what it is. It's chop wood, carry water. It's the same thing over and over again. Yeah, but thank you for that. And Jesse, of course, I would have called you on my phone to tell you, okay, I'm going to play it now. You better listen. I'm just teasing. It's queued up. Actually, it accidentally started playing a second ago. It's queued up and ready to go. So he mentioned slides. So this is a perfect segue into me to play a little bit. The song you're about to hear is from the Walk a Mile CD, which is my second CD I did for a company that's now defunct. It's called Fahrenheit Records. But it's the second one I did. Yep, just trying to check my notes here in my head. And it is my group, Coastal Axis, who I've mentioned before, Dave Hooper, Melvin Davis, Alan Hines, Dave Kohansky, and I think it was, I can't remember. I think it might have been Eddie Drayton on percussion on this tune. And it's a fun tune. It's pretty funky and pretty infectious. So I'd like to play it for you now. It's perfect timing, Jesse. I'd like to play it for you now, and it's called Slide. Give me a moment to get my mic set up. It's a different system for the alto. So here is Slide. Be back in 2 seconds. Slide from the vault, from the storage vault, retrieved off of ADAT tapes. Oh, J.V. Williams, shout out from Florida. Hello. Things going okay, Ariel? I'm glad. Xavier, hey Jeff, cheers from Miami. A lot of Florida people. Boca, Funky Biscuit, absolutely. Love to hear me play After the Rain. Okay, you know what, Xavier, that is making the list for the next one. A couple I couldn't get to this week because I didn't have time to prepare the tracks, but I'll put that down. I'm a note taker now, see. Um, and actually, going back to the previous conversation, I just know something from Steve Barsotti. Well, thank you. Students feel empowered in his presence, not diminished. Empathy, inspiration. Thank you very much. That's very kind, Steve. Thank you. And the same to you. I take great pride in my at the department at the college. My colleagues and I work very hard in our program to support. That's really the word. Support the students in whatever way we can. Educationally, of course, but sometimes emotionally too, because it's tough out there. It's tough to be trying to be productive during these times, and we do our best to kind of give them the tools they need to be successful. So thank you for that. Hey, my nephew Alex, who has, I'm going to tell everyone, has a job interview with the United Nations Foundation. I hope it goes well. I will soon be copying and pasting these clapping emojis for you when you get that job. That's going to be very exciting. However, does it mean you have to move to Washington, D.C.? That would be very depressing. We'll find out. Eric Marienthal, okay, on his feed. Yeah, okay, thank you. He refers each time I have a live feed. Eric and our pals. Sax Duo CD with Eric. Oh my goodness. That's a great idea. I think you suggest it to Eric. I appreciate that. A little bit about Eric Marienthal. We are friends. I just got his Christmas card a couple weeks back, and his beautiful family. Has a great photo and picture of them. I'm so happy to get those every year. I used to go see Eric play. Someone had posted on Facebook, when's the first time you saw Eric Marienthal play? And of course, everyone's saying with Chick Corea at this place, and maybe it was an Orange County performance he might have done. I think I predate everyone. I saw him in the late 80s. Yeah, I was in college still. Yep. 85, I want to say, 84, 85, down at Cafe Balboa, which I don't know if it's still open, and if it is, I don't know if it's still a jazz place, but that is where all the jazz musicians would go in Southern California and play. It's a tiny little stage area about the size of my desk. I kid you not. We were crammed together, corner. But why do we do it? Because, number one, you look to the right, and there's a big window, and the beach is right there. And people were walking by on the boardwalk, and it was really the most like a dream type memory. It was so pleasant, so much fun. We'd get there and play tunes just like what you heard, funky stuff like that, some straight ahead stuff, and really pleasant memories, just wonderful times. So that's where I would go to see Eric play, along with Gordon Goodwin, who you may or may not know. Gordon's a wonderful saxophone player, best known for his compositions in the Gordon Goodwin Big Fat Band. And so can you imagine that? Eric Marienthal and Gordon Goodwin. And Gordon played saxophone occasionally, but he mostly played keyboards on that gig. And I would go there, and I told them, they're my church. I go there every Tuesday night and pray because it was so good. It was just the best of the best. And so that's the first time I saw Eric, and we've been friends ever since. I asked him, point blank, like we saxophone players sharing information, how do I get good like you? How do I get good? He goes, okay, I'll tell you. It's practice. This is his regimen. Practice 3 hours a day, no breaks. Like, don't go up and get something to eat. Don't turn on the television, that type of thing. He said, if you want to be serious, it's 3 hours a day. And one day I practiced 3 hours. Does that count? No. I do practice regularly, but not necessarily 3 hours. That's kind of tough. but when I can, I do. And here, you know what the difference is? Now, if occasionally I do practice for hours and hours and hours, I pretty much play all day long. The difference is it's a reward to me to be able to practice. It's an absolute reward. It's like, oh, finally, I get to my horn now. I get to play the saxophone. You know what I'm saying? That's what it's about. Thank you, Jesse. I'm glad you liked that. That was for you. It was for you. Jesse's a fine saxophone player from Austin, Texas area. All right. Sorry about that, folks. I don't know. I hope I'm back with the living. I don't know what just happened. My whole system blanked out there. But I was about to click on Steve. Hello, Steve. Cousin Steve. Slide is one of your favorite tunes, so I'm glad you like it. What I like about it is it's like got this killer groove laid down by Dave Hooper, Melvin Davis, Alan Hines, and Dave Kohansky. It's got the you know deep groove, but on top of it is like pretty French horn stuff and strings towards the end. It just kind of takes you on a little journey, which is I think what every tune should do. So, but I appreciate you digging that. Oh, shout out to Leanne. She loves your music. Thank you. Yes, talking about Alex's job with the United Nations Foundation. You know, Jacob, I do too. Jacob lives in Orange County, and I used to live in Orange County. My wife and I used to live there for years. And I think I played, the running joke is I have closed every club in Orange County. I played them and then shortly after they closed, so I can only make a connection. But I don't know if Spaghettini's is still doing live concerts. I'm sure it's just a matter of time before we get going again. You know, understand with the COVID restrictions and all that, but hopefully it'll come back to life, so give it time. But until then, we'll have to just stream from my living room. Talking about fundamentals. Are keys to any art? Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, I've mentioned it before in other shows. My instructor, we heard the one sort of college situation that was not very productive. And at the same time, simultaneously, the other opposite was happening. I was taking private saxophone lessons with Leo Potts, who I will mention by name. He's still actively playing and sounds beautiful. If you like my sound, if you like what you're hearing, I owe it to him. It's because of him. Because I had an okay sound, okay technique, okay everything. And I went to college to get better. And at that college, Cal State Long Beach, where he was teaching, we restructured my playing. Not in an abusive way, but like, okay, let's tear everything away and let's start from zero. So I spent, fellow students of Leo Potts will concur, I spent 2 weeks on one note. It's like, no, try it again. And I'm thinking, what am I doing wrong? And it's the concept of the note has to be occurring before you actually play it from your horn. You have to be the note, feel the note, sing the note, and then it releases from your horn. It's all up here first. It's a fascinating concept, but we worked so hard for several years that I work with Leo, and everything that he taught me, everything, I still remember and apply to today. If you see me, you know, it appears that I'm thinking, it's usually I'm thinking of what Leo tried to do on this next note. And it's so funny, mentioning John Law back in the 8th grade, when I was in 7th grade band, at the end of 7th grade, I told my instructor, Gail Babritis, that I wanted to play the saxophone. And so I said, could you teach me? So she gave me my first lesson. And everything she taught me, I still do to today. The whole saxophone checklist, like, you know, put the neck strap in such a way that you can actually let go of the horn and it'll be in the right position. And then you want to have it on the side of your body, and so you want to tilt your mouthpiece so that the mouthpiece is level with your teeth. All these things, check, 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 like a pilot before a flight doing all the checklist things. You know, I guess that's the theme of tonight, chop wood and carry water. Just the little things you need to do every single time to get in the rhythm to do what you need to do, to become what you need to become, you know. So, nice comment there. Ah, bebop language. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for that. Yeah, the like that last song was in concert D minor, and so you can and should play the blues. Actually, let me turn my mic on. I'll just give you a couple examples. Well, it seems like we have a lot of musicians here, so okay, so I have to turn this mic on to talk, then turn it off to play. So you could play over that groove. You could play blues, of course. And that's all wonderful and great. But there comes time to leave that so you can return to it. There needs to be other colors involved. And my go-to thing on a minor thing is I love fooling with the natural six and the flat six like this. You know, the kind of notes that pull your ear a little bit. And of course, we saxophone players love the beboppy thing. Would you mention natural seven on a minor? Sounds like this. So as a result, you can play the natural seven, the flat seven, natural six, natural third, flat third, even on a minor. Pretty soon, you start adding these extra color notes. You are playing almost every note there is. So you get this expanding sense of freedom where you start with, as someone mentioned, the fundamentals, what you should play, and then what you can play, and then what you will play is pretty much anything. And anything played with conviction, and as long as you come back home to your home key, whatever that might be, will work. So I encourage you, that's like flying and trying different areas out. And sometimes, you paint yourself into a corner, it doesn't sound so great. So go back to the blues, restart. That's what I do, at least. All right, let me play another song for you. Little funky thing. This is from the Let It Ride CD. And let me think about who's on this one. This is a slightly different rhythm section. It's Dave Hooper again on drums. Oh, and Andre Barry. All right, I got my album cover here. Guess I forgot. Andre Barry on the bass, who's a dear friend, wonderful vocalist and guitar player, and primarily a bassist. He's been on the road with David Sanborn. Sorry, pardon the pops here. My mic came unplugged. I gotta plug it back in. He's been on the road with David Sanborn. You know what? I think I might have broken my mic. Gotta love the live stuff. Okay, we're switching to the other mic. Always have a spare. First rule of show business, right? What I was saying is, on this track is Dave Hooper and Andre Barry on the bass, guitars Alan Hines, Ronnie Gutierrez on percussion, and on this one we have a special guest, Mr. Tom Schumann, who is the keyboardist for Spyro Gyra, and Tom has become a dear friend over the years. We've co-written, not co-written, but co-recorded with each other, and we actually were talking about co-writing some stuff, so maybe something will be coming down the pipe a little bit later. But Tom is a phenomenal musician, phenomenal, and you'll enjoy him on this song. The name of the song is kind of intriguing. Imagine you're in the bayou taking a walk. It's nighttime. You can hear the crickets, right? And it's hot. And you start to hear music coming from down the road. So you follow your ears, and the music's getting louder and louder and louder. And it's like a little shed, right? With like the metal roof, and you can hear the music just banging in there. So you open the door, and what you see is unbelievable. There are people dancing, singing. The band is in the corner, grooving so hard, people having a great time playing cards, getting into fights. The whole scene. I think there's a Michael Jackson, Paul McCartney video that has such a scene. I didn't have that budget, so I just had to tell you it verbally so you can have it in your head. So I would like to invite all y'all to the Hot Tin Roof. Hot Tin Roof. Here we go. The Ah Ooh Song. Well, folks, looking at the clock on the wall, my intent was to play a little bit less tonight, and I did not accomplish that goal. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. As always, I have such a blast chatting with you guys and checking in with you. I'll get to a few more questions. People have so many comments. Thank you so much. I got to scroll up a little bit here. Lyrical and accessible. Thank you. That's the goal. Without being trite. Yep, that is the goal. Now, if you were in my music appreciation class, I would give you an A for those astute and observational comments. But thank you very much, Dan. I really appreciate that. It means a lot. That is the goal, is to play something that people can feel and want to sing, and yet try to put some other things in there to keep the interest alive, you know. So, and that was Hyde Park. Jason loves Hyde Park. Thank you. Hyde Park loves you. Hey, I'll say this for you, Adrian. Woo! Good evening from Orange County. Yeah, I missed that place. It's lovely down there. Oh, I've not been to the Pasadena Jazz Fest. Oh, I remember. It's like one time. That's right. Thank you for reminding me, Cindy, from Orlando. Yeah, that's right. Thank you for that memory. I got to dig out that cassette tape and find the video. We played that song, Ah Ooh, and none other than who? Shaka Khan sat in with the band. It was so funny because I was going to bring her on at the end to like really wow the crowd, like the last couple choruses, bring her out and like Miss Shaka Khan, and she started to come out early, like in the wrong section because it was kind of like mellow and it wouldn't have been right. You know, I wanted it to be like real anthemic, like Shaka Khan. So I actually, yes, I might be the only person in history. I gave Shaka Khan the hand. She was trying to come up the stairs, and I went like this, like, wait for it. And then when she came out, of course, the crowd went nuts. And the funny thing about it is she sang Ah, Ah, Ah. Completely different song. This is Ah, Ah, Ooh. It's so funny. It's like, it's ooh, ah, ah, ooh. You're not going to tell Shaka that. She was awesome. But anyway, hey, Michael. Thanks for clicking in and saying hello. Oh, I still got my reverb on. Turn that off. Steve Brown. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The tenor sound is brought to you by Trevor James tenor sax or woodwinds, like flutes and saxophones, and Jody Jazz HR Star Dark custom mouthpiece, which I'm really loving. I can play softly and get down to the lows, but I could also push it and kind of get up into the altissimo as well. Same thing on the alto, so I'm really enjoying playing it. Oh, thanks, Jason. I appreciate that. yeah. Go text Shaka and tell her, next time you study the lyrics. Next time you sit in. No, kidding. We're honored to have such a legend with us. Wow, Lima, Peru. Wow. For me to play the sax, and I hope you can also speak a little. I don't speak any Spanish. I'm so sorry. I'm monolingual, so forgive me. But I'm thankful that you clearly type English perfectly. So thank you. And Alexander, hey, how are you doing? Okay, folks, that is all the time we have. I know you've got your second glass of wine to get to, Steve, or third. You've earned it. Don't worry. I thank you all once again for joining me on the stream. It's a lot of fun. And I've written down some notes from the chat and some from what I've gathered here. I will continue to come up with stuff to play. Dawned on me the other day, the hard thing about these things, not that I'm complaining, but it's all good for me. But when I tour, I have like a set list for 1920, for 2020 or 2021. And you kind of make a couple of variations, but rarely do you play a complete, whole set list. And so each one of these shows, I've done a complete, no repeats yet so far. So I'll keep on going till I run out of songs, and then I'll do some, repeats maybe, other requests. And I misspoke earlier. This is the 2020 set list that I performed this year, live. So. Only on the live stream here, folks. And I did not play anything from the brand new CD. I forgot my strategy. The whole point of this was to tell you about play one new song every time and tell you about it. So I'll just tell you about it. We're working on a new CD. We're almost finished with it. We got like half the songs mixed, and it'll be out. I'm shooting for March. If the power stays on, I can get it to you in March. So I'm trying my best, but I want to make you aware of that, and I'll speak a lot more about that new CD later. Thank you so much for joining me, and all have a great and wonderful week. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.